Hello and welcome to the Mindful Making video podcast. I'm Jane and you have landed here in my home north of Sydney in Australia. I'm Danish and I moved to Australia 7 years ago together with my family, which consists of my husband and 3 children. This podcast is about my passion for making and for knitting in particular. I will also show you some new things that I've bought, not knitting related, but I try to find alternatives for everyday tasks, alternatives that is more gentle to our environment. So I'll share a few new things that I will start using. So that will come later in the podcast. You can find me on Instagram as Mindful Making, and I also have a Facebook page called Mindful Making. On Ravelry, I'm mindfulmakingAU, and I also have an Etsy shop with the same name. So if you search for Mindful Making or Mindful Making AU, you'll find me. Today, I'm looking out on a very grey, rainy day. It is the last day of winter. Today it's the 30th of August. So the winter season is done, and we certainly see the winter temperatures today, and then we'll move into spring. And I see in the weather forecast they talk about 21, 25 degrees next week. So awesome. Welcome to you all. If you're a new viewer, welcome, and also welcome to you if you've watched previous or all of the 10 previous episodes of the Mindful Making podcast. And also thank you to a Danish podcast, Merete and Helle, of directly translated The Loose Ends, which is a Danish knitting podcast. And Merete gave a shout out to me in their last episode, so thank you so much, Merete. And a lot of new viewers have come over to this channel, so welcome to you all. I think there's probably a lot of Danes among them, so velkommen til jer alle sammen. Det er dejligt at have jer her, og jeg håber, I nyder et lille indblik i min lille verden hernede i Sydney i Australien. Dejligt at have jer her. So back to English. Welcome to you all, and please, if you like what you see or just want to support this channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you're notified of any new episodes. And if you could do me the favor of sharing the link to this episode or to the channel to your friends, that would be highly appreciated. So you just copy the URL and send it and distribute it wherever sort of your contacts are. That would be mostly helpful. So thank you so much. But now let's get into the knitting content. First up, the finished object since last episode. Here it is. This is the Ranunculus, and it is done, and I like it. I do like it. So let me just stand up so you can see it's cropped. It's generous ease, so loose fit. I've made the sleeves a 3/4 length, and I've just worked them straight down, no decreases. And the length of the sleeves were basically determined by the amount of yarn that I had. So I did a tiny piece and I looked at how much yarn was left. I moved to the other sleeve, made a tiny piece, and so I think I just had 30 centimeters of yarn left for this length. Oh, this is not good. So yeah, so 3/4, I like it. What I like the most is this structured lace yoke. So it might do, does this help to see? So there is a bit of lace here, and then there are these structures up here. I did have some problems initially just to understand the pattern and the number of stitches in between, but now they are beautiful. I love them. I have used 3 skeins of 50 gram of yarn, and it is a discontinued yarn from Drops, a Norwegian yarn supplier. And you might, if you've watched some of the previous episodes of the podcast, you would have seen that I am very much focused on reducing my stash. And this yarn has been sitting in my stash for a very long time. A very long time. When I try to remember when I bought the yarn, that was for a cropped rib sort of cardigan in a 2x2 ribbing from Drops as well, and I tried to look up the pattern just to get an indication of when this was, but I think it was in the mid-90s. So we're talking 25 years. It's been sitting there. A bit embarrassing, but also great that it's now here and I can wear it. The yarn is as I mentioned, a Silke-tweed, so it's 42, 58 something wool silk blend. I have worked this Ranunculus on needle size number 6. Initially I was very worried about whether the fabric would be too loose and it would just be, it wouldn't hold its shape. But I am pleased with how it turned out. It has to be a lightweight spring summer garment, and I can just see me wearing it with a white tee underneath, and I also think I need a white skirt or a white pair of shorts to go with this for my summer outfit. So can I recommend the pattern? Yes, I can. Certainly this top section here. Did I enjoy the knit? Not so much. And I think it was because of 6mm needles is a quite sort of thick needle, and in a thin yarn, and just especially on the sleeves, moving the stitches up from the wire onto the needle. That was hard. I think I spent more time moving the stitches over than to actually knit them. So halfway, I think the first sleeve I did on 6mm, then the next sleeve I did on size 5, and just worked the stitches looser, with the looser tension. I can't see it, maybe others can, but I can't, and it worked so much better. So I think this will get a lot of wear now that we go into spring and summer coming up around the corner, so I'm looking forward to that. That was one finished object. The next one is an almost finished object. So you can see it's only the ends that I Still need to weave in, and otherwise these fingerless mittens are finished. It is the Ginger pattern by Helga Isager, a beautiful Danish designer. And these were initially intended for my sister-in-law, who said she was looking for a pair of fingerless mittens to have in her car when she gets out in the cold Danish mornings from September on to March. To have them sitting in the car, and she could just wear them and not be so cold. So the wheel is very cold, but she still needs to have the grip to work the wheel on the car, but then have something to warm her hands. So I thought I would make these for her. And then my husband said, aren't they a bit too long? Yeah, he is probably right. When you have a coat and you have sort of the sleeve going down here, you might have a cuff on the coat. This will just be in the way and irritating. So I decided to make her another pair, and then I could keep these for myself. And actually I've been wearing them today. I've been sitting down here working, and with no insulation in our houses. We did have the aircon running, but it's very cold today, so I just wore these while working on the computer. Good. The yarn is also a long-time member of my stash. This is a 100% merino superwash, and it is from a large amount of yarn that I inherited from the cleaner that we had back in Denmark. She had a yarn shop many moons ago, and when she then sold that shop, there was some yarn left over, and she bought that yarn back. And then one day she said, would you be interested in some yarn? And I said, yeah, certainly. I'm all for natural fibers. And she said, I have this merino, 100% merino wool. Would you like that? And I said, yeah, bring it on. I didn't know how much yarn there was. So I think, 3 big buckets of yarn. And the colors are then they are from that era in time. I think it's probably from the 80s. So they are green, pink, orange, purple. So very bright retro colors, and then a few whites and a few blacks. And this is one of the blacks that I've used for this one. So I have plenty of that merino wool. Now I am down though to one box, one and a quarter box of yarn. So I have used a lot, I must say, and it has been a lot of fun. That was one finished objects, one more. And also, since the last episode, my husband visited his dad for his 80th birthday and gifted him the socks that I knitted for him. If you want to see them, not in action, but while I will still working on them, then go back to episode number 10. And I'll put in some pictures here so you can see how they looked before they just went in a suitcase to go up to Denmark to be gifted. Also, I'll also put in a picture of those mittens that I made for my sister-in-law. So they were just from they was just a self-invented pattern, nothing fancy, just ribbing and stockinette, and so I basically worked from this pattern and just didn't put in the lace section here, and then of course reduced the length of the cuff. In the last episode, I got some feedback about the sound, that it was difficult to hear what I said. So now I try to improve the quality of the sound. So I bought a few mics. So I have one on the back and then one here on the table. So I hope that improves the sound quality. That's what I have done for now. And next up is the latest design that I have in test at the moment. So it's a sweater for a husband, or for a son, or for a father, or for the favorite man in your life. It is called the Hubby Sweater, and Hubby we use in Australia and maybe also other English-speaking countries, I don't know, but certainly here in Australia that's a synonym for husband, so hubby. And it is worked in 2 strands of coast yarn, the 50-50 cotton wool blend. And the one that you will see on the picture is that I will insert is worked in a blue and a grey color worked together. I have also I will put the names of these colors in the description box down below, so you can refer to that if you want to check that out. I've also made one in these 2 grey yarns held together. All of them are, is a raglan construction, stockinette, and then a sort of stripe detail down the sleeve and also underneath here. And why am I not showing that on the real sample? Well, it is because it's been gifted. The sample that I knitted up sits in Denmark with my brother-in-law. I don't know whether I said that it's stockinette and then I put in a zipper at the end, which I think I've probably knitted 5 or 6 versions of that for my husband and for my son, and with the zipper, and they love it. They absolutely love it, and both here and for our Danish relatives, that they can just use it as a jacket and open it when it's too hot and use it as an outdoor garment. So it has worked really well. So the pattern I hope would be released in October, but I'll keep you posted on that. So fingers crossed everything works well and it's all good to go and ready to be published by then. Yeah. Yes, I'm just looking around to be reminded of the next thing I have to say. So the last finished object. I know this has been going on for 20 minutes. There's another little small project that is worked in the superwash merino that I talked about. So this is a little baby vest in a beautiful green color with small bears as buttons. And talking about environmentally friendly alternatives for everyday tasks, I've decided that I will not buy wrapping paper anymore, or try to at least, and I will try to use fabric instead of wrapping paper to wrap gifts. So for this little vest, I created a little bag of some fabric I had left over. So this can then be tied in, and with this one in it, so that will be a nice little gift with a card attached. I will also put up some pictures of other examples of where I've used fabric or reused other packing material or material that we have received for gifts. So I just cut out a decent piece of fabric, give it a zigzag around the edges, and then use it for wrapping and a string around, and then the recipient can then use it for cloths, for wrapping again, for another gift. So I will try to do that. The trick will be to get the children convinced that it's a great idea for Christmas as well. So see how that goes. I think that is enough for finished objects, huh? Let's move into what is on the needles. So I have had I put out a request to my family, extended family, for ideas for Christmas gifts, and some of my nieces came back with, well, we would like chunky knits. Okay, I can do that. So I have been diving into my stash to find yarn suitable for chunky sweaters, and I've done a swatch. So I have here 3 versions, so a light blue and a grey and a white option. This is worked on a needle size 8, and this is size 7 millimeters. And let me just show you the yarn that I've found for this. So I had to order something new to make it happen. I didn't have all the yarn necessary in my stash, so I ordered these nice mohair, kid silk mohair from Knitting for Olive. Let me see if this goes. And I ordered it from Denmark, and it arrived here within 8 to 10 days. It was very fast. So this is from Knitting for Olive. Soft silk mohair. It is 70% mohair, 30% silk. This is called, the blue color is called Himmel, which is the sky. This color, the white, is called Råhvid or off-white, and then the gray is called Zinc. Yeah, so I ordered 5 balls of each color. So this is a coast yarn, and I will have to put the name of the color down in the description box. The mohair, and then a Highland wool from Garnosal in it's called Ullesten, but it's a soft grey. This is a 100% lambswool. So that was the grey option. The white is worked in 2 strands of the coast yarn. This is écru, the top one écru, and this is ivory, I think. And then the silk mohair. And finally the blue. is again a lambswool, Highland wool from, no, sorry, this one is a coast yarn again, and a lambswool, this one, this color, and then silk mohair, looks like this. Oop. And here I have stuff. Ooh, I have balls of yarn everywhere. So here is the initial few rounds. So it is the Sunday sweater by Petite Knit. So this is how far I've come. I like working with this yarn. I'm working on my Knit Pro Symphony I think, needles. And you know, I talked about the difficulties of knitting on a large needle and thin yarn on this one. I worked this on the Chagu needles. And on this jumper now, this is also, you know, big needles, but this transition piece from wire to needle is just much longer than on the Chagu, which means that the stitches will just move more easily up to the needle. So these are not as challenging to knit with. So I'm very happy. And sometimes I feel, you know, a luxury of having more sets of needles, because it's knitting needles, but they serve different purposes. And for some projects, one set of needles work, and for others, another set works better. So that was yarn, finished objects, and what's on the needles. Let's move into protecting the environment. I've said in a previous podcast that I heard the advice of whenever you throw something away, that's the opportunity to think of, would there be an alternative that is more soft on the environment? And I like that approach, because it's not about going out and changing everything and just throwing everything away, buying new things. So I like the approach that use what you have. I think that's probably the best way, the most environmentally friendly approach, to use up whatever you have, and then when you need something new, to look for alternatives. So we have a local online business here, which is called Flora and Fauna. I should probably use the English pronunciation, shouldn't I, here in Australia? But I got a package from them earlier in the week. So in here there are the bamboo toothbrush, and there is a now I just wonder what that's called in English. Let's see here. Stimulating, invigorating, excellent for massage. Ooh. I look forward to the invigorating. Yeah, and then I have, I think in a previous episode, I also talked about shampoo bars. We have used up one bar already of shampoo, so I bought a new one. My husband is completely on board. The children not so much yet. But this is very easy to use. Love it, love it, love it. Another one, dry hair, just another brand. And I have the conditioner as well. I've probably used half the bar now. I'm so happy with how it works and how to use it. So basically now, if this was, you know, the bar, you would just over your head and massage it in, and rinse it like you would with a regular shampoo, but you just don't have the plastic containers anymore. And then I ventured into another type of soap. So this is a dish and laundry soap. So I intend to place this at the sink in the kitchen, and then use the brush to get some soap and do the dishes. Haven't tried it yet, so I'll come back with a user experience and tell you how it works in practice. I like the idea. Again, less plastic. And then, of course, you can't have something like that without something to place it on. Or it's reused wood or repurposed wood. And then when this is sit on top here. So these are just a few ideas, and I will continue to find just small alternatives. And yes, it might be small, but if there's just enough of small changes, it will make a difference. So my view is that any step or any action counts towards the bigger picture of trying to save this beautiful planet of ours. I find it so hard, devastating to watch seas of plastic, and it's our fault. There's nobody else to blame than us humans. It's awful. Okay, we can do what we can do. So if you are inspired, look around, and whenever there is something that you have to renew, or get a new shampoo or whatever, then look for alternatives that is better for the environment. I think we can all make small changes. Yeah. I think that's it from in terms of knitting projects and in terms of these small environment steps. Then maybe just a short story about what else has been going on here in my life. Not necessarily knitting or anything like that, but I sing in a choir, a community choir. So it's a non-auditioned choir, a lot of beautiful women, so it's only women. And I think there's probably 6 choirs on the North Shore of Sydney. And we have been on Australia Got Talent to sing. There are 350 of us singing for the audition. And we got through to the semi-finals as well, which is very exciting. So the semi-finals will air on Channel 7 here in Australia on Sunday at 7 o'clock. I would love to share links so you can watch it wherever you are, but there are some rules and permissions, boundaries, so it cannot just be distributed everywhere in the world. But I'll put up some pictures here at the end of so you can just see how it looked, and both from the audition and from the semi-finals. So I get almost a bit teary thinking about it, because it's such a great community to be part of, and it's all about women supporting women, and then we raise awareness and funds for women's shelters. So it's about helping women and children that has experienced domestic violence. I hope you've enjoyed. Thumbs up, subscribe, share, that would be awesome. Have a lovely end of August and beginning of September wherever you are. Bye bye.